What's up, guys? You're watching a special edition of Gamescript where we're covering the London game. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars versus Chicago Bears. It's a 1.5-point spread in this one with the Bears as the favorites, but should it be that close? We'll take a look right after this. What's up, guys? Simon Edwards at Pumacom here with Heat Seeker Sports, and you're watching Gamescript, looking at the London game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chicago Bears. It's a 44.5-point total with Jacksonville as 1.5-point dogs in this one. Jacksonville is used to traveling to London. They travel there for a couple games a year, and Chicago, not so much, but Jacksonville last year, I think the first time last year they traveled there and they stayed there for 2 games in a row. They're doing the same this year. And the thing is with the travel with Jacksonville is they usually travel a lot earlier than they did this year. And I'll get into that in a second. Make sure to hit that like button, looking for 30 likes to trigger the next video. And make sure to hit the subscribe. You're going to want to be subscribed for when the next video comes out. I usually post it around 30, like about an hour before lock or so. So you're going to want to subscribe and sign up for alerts. And you're going to want to do that to help me out with getting to my goal of 2,000 subscribers before the end of the season. I'm at a little over 1,000 now, and I need about 70 to get to 1,100, which I want to try to get to by week 6. So I appreciate all the subscribes there. Helps me put out this content and continue putting out this content. So make sure to do that. Let's get into this matchup. So as I was saying, with the travel schedule, Jacksonville usually travels there probably about a week. No, not a week, but they usually travel there like midweek or so. This week they got delayed due to the hurricane, and they had to travel on Friday morning instead of Thursday night. So they lose like half a day with their planning and their execution. But they were already traveling later than they did last week. Last year they traveled there, I think, on like Tuesday. Chicago, on the other hand, traveled out there on Monday. So they've been out there all week. So the jet lag advantage goes to Chicago in this one. Chicago is the hotter team in general. Their offense is firing now. They got their run game going. Caleb Williams is coming around as a quarterback. First overall pick in the draft this year versus first overall pick a few years ago in Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has not been playing well. The Jacksonville Jaguars have not been playing well, and they look like a terrible team this year. They have a 1-3 record, actually 1-4, I believe. And on top of that, we're looking at a Chicago team that has been catching fire recently. They're 3-2, and like I said, they got their run game going now. DeAndre Swift has figured things out, or at least the past couple games he has. And the connection with DJ Moore and Caleb Williams is starting to solidify. So we have some things going in the advantage of Chicago right now. On top of that, their defense is on fire. So DJ Moore, this matchup against Jacksonville, you can basically pick your spot for where you think that they can attack, because Jacksonville is giving up 27.3 DraftKings points a game to the running back. They're giving up 30.2 to wideouts. They're giving up 14.5 to the slot, and they're giving up 23 DraftKings points a game to the quarterback. So Jacksonville's defense has just been garbage this season. DJ Moore finds himself in that wide receiver situation where they're giving up 30.2 DraftKings points a game to the wideouts, which is really good for DJ Moore. On top of that, he is the main target in man coverage, which Jacksonville is one of the highest man coverage teams in the league. Brian Thomas has been an outstanding rookie. You can see this past couple weeks, 20 plus DraftKings points in the past couple weeks. He faces off against a Chicago team that has some injuries in the secondary. We're missing safety Jaquan Brisker. We're missing, looking like they're going to be missing cornerback Tyreek Stevenson. Terrell Smith, I believe he is questionable, and they got a few other injuries in the defense there on Chicago's end. But Brian Thomas has been the guy in this offense for Jacksonville, and he has advantage in this matchup too. He's the main guy targeted in zone coverage, but Chicago has a good defense. So even with more targets, at least you'll have more opportunity, even though it's against a good defense. And Brian Thomas has the ability, or at least so far, shown the ability to beat coverage. DeAndre Swift has come alive these past couple weeks. Main thing is in the pass game too, which is important for tonight or for the matchup in the morning, is where Jacksonville has been most susceptible against running backs, and that is good for DeAndre Swift. He had 7 targets a couple weeks ago. He also has games of 4 targets and 5 targets, but DeAndre Swift, possibly, setting up with a good matchup in the passing game with the Bears against Jacksonville this week. Caleb Williams has that good matchup I discussed, and he is a couple games where he scored over 20 DraftKings points already, but he is starting to figure things out, and now he gets a super easy defense in Jacksonville. Jacksonville has the experience in London, so maybe that will be an advantage against a rookie like Caleb Williams. But like I said, like the Bears have been there all week, so they've had plenty of time to acclimate to everything. So we'll see how that goes. The spread is 1.5 points, though, so there's obviously going to be a reason for that. Trevor Lawrence had 25 DraftKings points. He finally broke out of his slump, and team won a game, their first game of the season against Indy, whose defense is terrible. And now they face off against Chicago's defense, which has a really good defense. So rough situation there for Trevor Lawrence. Chicago's giving up only 8.8 DraftKings points a game to the quarterback position. So not good for a struggling Trevor Lawrence. Chicago's only giving up 14.9 DraftKings points a game to wideouts, 10.5 DraftKings points a game to the slot, 7.4 DraftKings points a game to the tight end position. It's looking like Evan Engram will be back this week, but he does not have a good matchup. The best matchup is for running backs against Chicago. Chicago's given up 24.1 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. Christian Kirk does not have a good matchup. He does not do well against the type of coverage that Chicago runs. So it could be a rough scene for Christian Kirk this week. Keenan Allen, he is the one of the higher targeted guys against man coverage, along with DJ Moore. So if you want to pivot off of DJ Moore, who should be highly owned, Keenan Allen might be a good guy to pivot to. Got 6 targets last week. Been a little sluggish since he returned, but now he's 3 weeks removed from his injury. So hopefully we see Keenan Allen start to show a little life in this offense. And he would make a good pivot, like I said, off of DJ Moore. Keenan Allen's ownership is projected at about 39% total ownership, but only less than 10% of captain ownership. So interesting for Keenan Allen, who gets a lot of targets against zone coverage. Travis Etienne has the good matchup against Chicago. He is at 11K. Chicago giving up 27.3, or sorry, 24.1 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. And, ETN is splitting the backfield now with Tank Bigsby. Both those guys, let's check their ownership. Travis Etienne projected at under 10% owned in the captain. Tank Bigsby, projected even lower than that, about 1%. Tank Bigsby could be an interesting captain option with that projection. That's if that projection holds. He had a big week last week, and people might be leaning more towards Tank Bigsby than that ownership might suggest. But close game. If it's a close game and they decide to lean on Tank Bigsby, could make an interesting captain option at 1% ownership there. And, you get Tank Bigsby. He's the cheapest of the good captain options. And that could give you a lot of room to play around with your lineups. Let's see. Tank Bigsby. Rome Odunze, not a great matchup for him against this type of coverage. But we've seen it. I've said this like a few times where I thought a guy didn't have a good matchup due to the coverage, and they end up putting up monster games. So from a game theory perspective, like Romo Dunze is definitely in play. If you want to swap out or rotate your receivers on Chicago, they got 3 really good receivers. Cole Kmet, decent matchup, middling, good salary on him at 6,600 in the flex. Cole Kmet had a big week a couple weeks ago, but otherwise he has been pretty dead. Scrolling down, Engram, not a great matchup. Coming back from an injury, not someone I'd look to focus on, but Evan Engram is a guy that could have a decent game at any point. So keep him in mind. Roshan Johnson, been poaching some of the goal line work away from DeAndre Swift. Got a touchdown last week, 2 touchdowns last week, a touchdown the week before that. So he has been scoring some touchdowns, and he's only 5,200 in the flex, right around these kickers. Always like the kickers, especially in a game where we're seeing a 1.5 point total, 1.5 point spread. Could be a close game, and the kickers come and play. Gabe Davis does well against this type of coverage as well. And Chicago's giving up some splash plays. Gabe Davis could be interesting in a situation like that, and he is at a price point where it makes sense to have him as your last rotating guy in your lineups. Right near that Bears D. I like the Bears D better than the Jags D this week. Not really a fan of the Jags D in general. I don't really have high expectations for them. They've been awful this year. Brenton Strange has been getting a lot of the tight end work, obviously, with Evan Engram out. This week, though, with Evan Engram back, maybe Strange would make a good play in a better matchup with some of the ownership taken off of him with Evan Ingram's returning. But in this matchup, difficult matchup, I'm not so much on Strange. Other than that, I don't think there's too much else on this slate as far as cheap guys. So let's go ahead and build a lineup. I'm going to go ahead and build. Caleb Williams is the cheapest of these studs. So I'm going to put him in the captain. Don't usually go with quarterbacks in the captain, but he's under 9K, which is nice. Caleb Williams, I want to pair him with DJ Moore. I'm going to throw DeAndre Swift in there. like using Swift as more of a pass catching option. And let's put ETN in there. Gonna leave us with 5,200. I put ETN in there because the running backs have the better matchup against Chicago, and ETN in a like a trailing script makes sense as the pass catcher in the Jacksonville Jags. Leaves us with 5,200. I like that Bears D. It's gonna leave me with 6,400. Got options like Engram. We got Johnson. If we wanted to get a kicker in there, let's put a kicker in there. If we put Santos in there, and we wanted to take ETN out, it doesn't quite get us to Brian Thomas Jr., but you could put in Lawrence in that situation. If you think Kirk could do something, you could get Kirk in there. Basically a 5-1 build in favor of the Bears. If we wanted to switch this around a little bit, let's put Swift in there. I'd probably build it the same way, honestly. I'd probably go Swift in the captain, DJ Moore, ETN, Bears D. I just don't. I don't know how well Jacksonville is going to do against this defense. Got the Bears D there. Going to put Caleb Williams in there. I like his matchup. Leaves me with 6,200. That same spot I was just in. So you can swap out Swift and Moore and basically be in the same situation, or Swift and Caleb. Let's put Moore in there. Same situation, basically. Make sure to hit that like button. I'm looking for 30 likes to trigger the next video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. You want to subscribe to, first of all, help me out. Help me get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the football season. I need to get to 1,100 or so by the end of week 6 to try to keep that pace. Let's clear this out and do something a little more fun. Let's get ETN as a captain. I'm going to go ETN. I'm going to go Moore. See me picking these same guys, but these are the guys that I really kind of lean towards. You could go a different route than Moore, obviously, with those other receivers. Going to go with the Bears D again, even though I have ETN as that captain. I would probably lean towards Cole Kmet in this situation. Let's see what would happen if we put Brian Thomas in there. Leaves us with 1,700. Not much to work with there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take ETN out. I'm going to put Bigsby in. Get that 1% captain I was talking about. We put Brian Thomas in there. Still leaves us with 2,300. Let's get rid of Moore. Let's say we want to go with Allen instead. That leaves me with 4,500. That puts Gabe Davis in play. Already got Brian Thomas in there. I don't want to have that many Jags. I just don't believe in them. Bears D though would be an option. Bears D used in the lineup with like a Jacksonville captain probably won't be too popular. Just the build with a couple of these Jacksonville guys in the defense and one in the captain. So if you wanted to make your Bigsby 1% lineups a little bit different, that'd be one way to do it. But other than that, like I think there's there's a few other directions you can go, but I think that gives you an idea of, like maybe some directions you can go for your lineups. Uh, I think my favorite plays are going to be Swift, Caleb, and DJ Moore, and then the like running back, one of the running backs from Jacksonville. I think those are going to be like key core guys to have in your lineups. And I think you can pretty much like take your pick on which one of these guys goes in the captain. I think all of them work. It's going to be a tough one for a captain pick this week. There's not many lineup advantages, building advantages for any of those captains other than Bigsby and Etienne. So just keep that in mind when you're building your lineups. Uh, those guys help you get like more bang for your buck as far as building your lineup, but you're also building for a potential Jacksonville type of build. And I don't think that Jacksonville is going to be as close as 1.5 points in this one. I just think that their schedule is thrown off with the travel. I know they have the experience over there. Chicago has been there for a week. They're going to be well rested. It's going to be the opposite for Jacksonville. Chicago, on top of that, is a team that is got good momentum versus Jacksonville. They won their first game against Indy. I don't know. It's going to be a tough one for Jacksonville, but we'll see what happens. And hit that like button. Give me the 30 to trigger the next video, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys with the next video.